Hello, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. Postseason baseball has never been more exciting. The LA Dodgers. Wow, guys, you couldn't have, made us feel good about ourselves a little bit. We made the prediction that the pitching wasn't there for them. 33 straight innings, scoreless ball.
How much more wrong could we have been?
It's
so wrong.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, they are really shoving it in our face. It's like every passing inning, it's just a reminder of, holy crap, I guess I don't know ball. But we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what's going on over there in the Guardians-Yankees series. That is going to be starting today, everybody. Jose Ramirez decided to incentivize his teammates with a little bit of something extra, and it worked. Also, where's Aaron Judge? What's going on with that? A lot of stuff to break down today, folks. And then stay tuned till the end because we're going to go through some stuff outside of postseason baseball, which I think a lot of viewers should enjoy. But first things first, man. LA.
Yeah.
We weren't on it, and now I think we should be on it.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, LA Dodger fans. I mean, we've posted several clips on our social media, talked about it on this podcast, about how there's no way you could beat, the San Diego Padres because their pitching staff is way deeper than your pitching staff. You have guys that are pitching that haven't even pitched over 100 innings total this year. There's not a single chance in hell that you guys are going to win and move on to the NLCS, but then they go on. Including last night's game against the Mets, they have a 33 straight scoreless inning streak. That ties the record, I believe, since the Orioles back in 1966. So, you go on a limb and you think you know ball because you're looking at the staff, you're looking at the rotation, you're looking at what they had to do to win, and look at the last stretch of 30 days for the LA Dodgers being one of the worst pitching staffs, and you go, okay, well, it's not going to change all of a sudden in the highest moment of when they need to be playing at their best, and they do. So for that, I am sorry. I did not know your game.
Well,
I was not familiar.
I mean, this is actually miraculous. I think we aren't internalizing just how crazy this is right now because it is such a turnaround from what it is that you're talking about. And as a fan, sometimes I'll be cheering on my team. And, I'm seeing the writing on the wall, right? It's like, oh, we can't hit with runners in scoring position or whatever it may be. And I always have that hope that, well, we're gonna get
work.
better. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen now.
When we really need them to step up, they're gonna do it. And then obviously it doesn't.
No, that's why
9
we're not in the
times
playoffs.
exactly, right? 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. You see what is transpiring with this team, and in the biggest moments, usually that's exemplified. Whereas for the LA Dodgers right now, the last 30 days of regular season baseball, their pitching did suck.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for that
horrible.
because that is the facts. Those were the stats. They were really, really bad. They were down there with the White Sox in some of the worst ERAs in baseball, and all of a sudden, when you're going up against arguably one of the most electric and hottest offenses in the San Diego Padres, they show up like this.
Yeah, and they were down 2-1, and that's when we were doing that Thursday show last week. We're like, okay, well, they're cooked now. They're cooked. They lost bad to the Padres. They've got all the momentum. They're in Petco Park. They're gonna put them in the grave.
And also too, that was after they had pitched Flaherty.
Right.
And after they pitched Yamamoto, we were thinking to ourselves, oh, well, the good guys are done.
And Dave Roberts literally announced they're going to have a bullpen day.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're cooked.
Yeah.
You're cooked. And that was the Wednesday game. And then, they went on and they actually won and they shut out the Padres. And that was the beginning of this scoreless streak. We're like, okay, that's a great game, but now you really gotta show up when it really matters. And Yamamoto had a bad outing last time out, and then he goes and he is scoreless, and the bullpen comes in and is scoreless and shuts out the Padres. Wow, it's honestly good credit for the Dodgers. A lot of credit to that pitching staff for showing up when they needed to. But why are we choking, Padres? Well, that was a big choke.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and I think that just as much as we need to show praise to the to the LA Dodgers and their bullpen, their pitching staff, and I got some names here that I'm going to read off. I'm sure the LA Dodgers fans know it, but we got to show some credit to these guys too. But on the flip side of all of that, there needs to be some criticism of the way that the San Diego Padres played baseball there. You had it. You really
You
did.
literally had
you
it.
had it. Fernando Tatis Jr. was, humping at the crowd, and Profar was he was a dancing flamingo, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
Is what Ken Rosenthal said. You had it in your hands, and you let it slip away, and that's something that you're going to need to think about and hold on to for the next 6 months of the offseason. That's a really, really tough loss because you did fumble away the bag.
Yeah, because Tatis went 0 for 4 in the Game 5 in L.A. They only got 2 hits as a team. Like, what kind of performance is that? You know what I mean? In Game 4, in that bullpen day where they lost 8-0, they got 7 hits. Tatis with 1. So Tatis at the end, when he was at his most confident and highest, when the lights got really bright and said, "Hey," lights said, "Hey, you got to win." He went 1 for 8.
Yeah,
and that's just not good. Obviously, there's more people on this baseball team, but that's their leader right there.
Yes.
And he didn't show up when it mattered. Especially that Game 5. Oh my God, dude, are you kidding me? 2 hits. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Across the board, like, you look at what they did, and I think that there's a lot for the San Diego Padres to be proud of this season. But, I was hearing stuff. I don't know if you heard this, man, but the San Diego Padres felt like their whole roster, their whole baseball team was better without Juan Soto. That was like the word, like when they were feeling like they were like hot and they were feeling good about themselves. Like, this is the type of shit that came out.
I guess technically they were.
Technically, the results were better. I don't know if you can actively say, we're definitely assuredly going to be a better team without this guy.
If you think about it, you flipped Juan Soto and Trent Grisham for Dylan Cease, Michael King, and Kyle Higashioka, which was a huge part of their team.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And they won more games. So I hear what you're saying because he is one of the best players in the world.
Right.
But, they were technically better.
Well, here's the thing, because after I heard all that stuff coming out, that's when they went on to lose 2 straight to the Dodgers and, barely hit anything to save their life. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they could have used Juan Soto in those moments. So, I do feel for the Padres because, I can just imagine as a fan watching that, I'd be pulling my hair out. But once again, credit needs to be given to Michael Kopech, Anthony Bonda, Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia. These are all bullpen guys with no earned runs in the postseason. You got Ben, I've never even heard of this guy before, Ben Kasparius. That's a fucking sick name, by the way. Daniel Hudson, Landon Knack, who I was getting on. All right, there is so many zeros in this ERA column. If you go to the LA Dodgers player stats, it is truly impressive, and that's not even factoring in that Yoshinobu Yamamoto had himself one hell of a bounce-back start in Game 5 when you needed it, and then Jack Flaherty decided to take the momentum that everybody was riding and bring that in to the first game against the New York Mets. Mets, who are arguably the hottest team in baseball right now, most exciting team in baseball, they lose 9-0.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
In Game 1.
Again, another hot and exciting team comes in and just gets shut out by Flaherty. And then they had Senga on the mound. Man, Senga, it's been a tough postseason for Senga. This guy gave up 3 earned runs, only lasted to the second inning, only recorded 1 out in that second inning before getting pulled. ERA is up to 10.8. They need Senga to be rock solid for them.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that he just wasn't. And then they're playing from behind the 8 ball. Then they put in Peterson. Is he a starter? Is he a bullpen guy? What is he, Mets fans? Because he goes 2 1/3, but he gives up 2 earned runs. That puts him in the hole even further. And the Mets offense, nowhere to be found. In the other game, only Winker was having an awesome postseason, by the way. Winker's having a great postseason.
Granted, he did. I don't know if you saw the ugly pickoff that happened to him.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
It was really bad,
actually. Oh, boy.
The Mets finally had something kind of going. It was Winker. He was on second base, and they got a base knock, and it was just like a weird one. And he got caught up between second and third, and it was... it was just a bad decision.
Right.
And that was any momentum that you did maybe have, it was gone.
Literally. I'm looking right here at the percentages when they lost this game. In the bottom of the second, when Ohtani singled and made it 3-0, their winning percentage up to 83.1%. That's just how big it is right there. You lost it in the early going. So Dodgers had you there, but now you got to be able to bounce back. You have Sean Manaea on the mound. I don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers today. It hasn't been decided. Another bullpen day?
Yeah,
what's
well,
gonna
listen,
happen
guys, I would not be throwing out Walker Buehler. I'd just be trusting the zeros
I'm going
in
with
that bullpen, you know?
Because
Like,
you have an off day tomorrow, so you might as well.
That's the thing, dude. Like, I know that, Trinan and Hudson and, Kasperius are going to show up and show out against these New York
Right.
Mets. I think one of the most impressive things for me from what we're seeing out of these LA Dodgers, because I was saying all prior to the postseason, they're going to go as far as Ohtani's going to take them. I was thinking that Ohtani was going to need to Ohtani his way to victory.
Right.
And, he's been fine. But it's not like he's doing anything spectacular here. He's batting for 250 batting average, 6 games, so small sample size. But he's got an OPS of 708. Like, he really isn't doing anything spectacular. And then you look at the top of the lineup of Mookie Betts picking up the slack, Teo Hernandez, our old Toronto Blue Jays fan, or friend, excuse me. He is going crazy. And I heard I heard some Dodgers fans talking to me about how Kike Hernandez is the best kept secret of the postseason.
Hey.
Because apparently in the playoffs, like, this guy just fucking shows up, and he is doing so right now.
He is 13 at-bats, and he's batting .385. Granted, it's 13 at-bats, and he got 5 hits. So that's awesome. That's awesome for them, and they're going to need it, especially because they don't have Rojas on the roster for the series, so they kind of need some of that infield help.
Well, and you heard from Kike Hernandez the secret to how they're winning, right?
Oh, what's the secret from Kike?
Oh, you didn't hear this. So they were. This was after the game that they beat the Padres in, and he's doing a because he came up with a really big clutch hit. He did some big work, and the reporter's there and he's talking to him, and Kike Hernandez goes, "Are we live?" And the reporter goes, "Yes, we are live right now." And he goes,
"Champagne showers?"
No, this was on the field. They were celebrating, So Kike Hernandez goes, we're live?" And the reporter confirms, "Yeah, we're live right now." He goes, "'Cause we don't give a fuck," And so he literally specifically, he was literally like, I want to make sure that we're live right now before I drop the F-bomb. And effectively, his point was like, we don't care, we don't give a fuck anymore, You know what?
We don't care who it is.
That's the thing. Like, if that's the mentality, like, shout out to the LA Dodgers. Like, everybody thinks that you are, public enemy number one for going out and signing Ohtani and being this super team and everything like that. You got to walk in with that, like, F-U mentality, and that is what Kike Hernandez is saying, and that's what these guys are doing right now.
If you were to predict the winner of this series between Mets and Dodgers, who are you going with? Because again,
I got obviously I have a bit of an advantage right now because
they are winning
one game up. So
that is true. But with that even being considered, because winning game one doesn't necessarily mean you're winning the series, of course. Where are you kind of at? Because my logic brain wants to keep going back to like their pitching's not going to do it. Their pitching's just not going to do it. But that was 2 weeks ago. LA Dodgers. I'm thinking about this is current LA Dodgers in the last week where they've been the best pitching staff in baseball.
Right.
So for me, thinking about that and thinking about them putting up 8 runs and 9 runs and 3 straight games of shutout ball, I feel like I got to go with the Dodgers, regardless of the first game win.
Well, that's the thing, like for me, I do think the first game win is an important factor. Like, your odds do increase dramatically taking that game. I also think as well, like, the Dodgers are winning baseball games right now without Shohei Ohtani Ohtaniing. Yeah. And there's going to be a game, single-handedly, he's going to win for that team. He's going to go 4 for 4. He's going to do something ridiculous. It's going to happen. That's what he does. So all that being considered, 33 straight scoreless. I think the Mets are going to win some here. I think they're going to make it close, but give me Dodgers in 6.
That's what I was going to say. Dodgers in 6. Maybe they win today, and then they do have an eye out. But again, who effing knows what's going to happen? They go on the road. They have 3 games on the road against the Mets. Maybe they grab 2 there, and then there you go. And that's the series.
That's the thing, right? Like, postseason baseball postseason anything is hard to predict, but
it always is. Especially baseball.
Yeah, right. Like, this really, no one could have seen this dramatic pitching turnaround coming. And I wouldn't be even surprised if, come today in game 2, like, it all falls apart and they blow up for 11, right? Or I could also see them going 9 more scoreless. Like, seriously, anything could happen here. I think that for me, though, the one constant that I know is going to be there is that LA Dodgers lineup is going to continuously going to put up runs. So even in the games where their pitching does fail them, I think they still got a chance to win. And considering they got the one game right now, Give me Dodgers in the World Series.
Wow.
For an opportunity here to win a chip in Ohtani's first year.
Yeah, it's funny. You were bringing up you never know with the postseason, things can just all of a sudden turn around and be magical. I mean, I think about the Texas Rangers bullpen last year. They were one of the worst bullpens all year long.
Yeah,
all year long.
Yeah.
They were awful. October comes, they're the best bullpen
Magic
that
in
anyone's
a bottle,
ever seen.
We don't know.
We exactly right. So yeah, it can happen. Maybe this is their magic in a bottle where I hate to say Cinderella story because it's not, because they paid over $1 billion last offseason in players. But looking at that rotation and looking at that bullpen, they've really come together and they're carrying this team. And not to discredit the offense, but really, if you don't let the other team score a single run, you will win the game.
Yeah, of course, right? You will. That's the thing. Eventually, it might take a lot of innings, but you're gonna do it eventually, folks. So that's what's going on with the LA Dodgers right now. We did give some major credit there to Jack Flaherty, as needs to be, and I think the question now is, from at least a couple Detroit Tigers fans, is, damn, could we have made it to the semifinals had we held on to Jack Flaherty? What do you think about that?
Possibly. I mean, obviously he's doing great this postseason, but I mean, I hear that. I just think it's something you can't really dwell on, because the season where it was going, you had to sell Jack Flaherty at the deadline. He was on a 1-year deal. You had to sell him, and you weren't even close to a playoff spot. So yeah, hindsight's 2020. Oh crap! If we would have known, we would have made one of the biggest comebacks ever, and have all that hopium, then we could have been great. But maybe they could have been the Cleveland Guardians, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Right? Their pitching staff reminded me a lot of the LA Dodgers right now, where you really only got one guy, which is Jack Flaherty, and then the rest of the times you're pitching the bullpen, but it wasn't good enough to beat those Guardians. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's all speculation, but you can't dwell on it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think that the Flaherty trade was supposed to happen. And who even knows? Maybe the fact that they were sellers at the deadline is part of the reason what sparked their team,
right,
to get that FU mentality and to go as far as they. Maybe if they hadn't have sold, then they would have never even been here. I don't know, right? It's one of those situations where it is impossible to tell. Either way, Detroit did get knocked in a very uncharacteristic start from Tariq Skubal. He was being perfect, and then the Cleveland Guardians just got to him immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of what Jose Ramirez had to say. I'm going to get into that in a second. But before we do, just a massive shout-out to Detroit and everything that you accomplished. I'm very excited to watch them now in the offseason.
Yeah, go get some pitching.
Go get some pitching. Go get some offense. Go get everything.
Go get everything
right
now.
You have an opportunity now, and you have some serious reason to be proud of yourself and ammunition to now show some other free agents to go, we can do this. We got a strong mentality here. We believe that this core is going places.
And they're a young core, too, right? Because you still have Skubal for 3 more years.
Skubal
2 more years
long
after
time.
this.
Green's good. Carpenter's good.
You got
yes,
a good core.
Bias sucks, but, what can you do? It's like,
if you want us to cut him, part of my free agent contract is you must cut Javier Baez. Okay.
All right.
Guys, we had to.
We had
to get
to
Corbin Burns. We had to cut Baez. Oh, well. So, can you imagine? Someone walks in, it's like, I'm only signing if you get rid of this guy.
That would be the biggest fucking shade. I would understand it. The crazy thing is,
this guy
I would literally understand.
I get it.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't want to be here.
No.
He's stealing your money. I want to win with this team, so you got to get rid of this asshole.
Pay me less to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Which we'll talk about him a little bit later, but I mean, they got a lot of stuff going on for them. So big shout out to those Tigers, but also a bigger shout out to the Guardians for moving on when we were kind of counting them out because they had that big bye. And, we're like, Guardians are not as exciting as these Tigers. But the Guardians move on, and they get to Tariq Skubal because of what Jose Ramirez was saying. And I think this is the funniest thing ever, man. This is I guess, team leader to the next level. Jose Ramirez literally offered his teammates $1,000 for each home run and $500 for each RBI in crucial Tigers game in the Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
How much money did these guys make? Because they popped off.
I'll tell you right now, Lane Thomas walked away with a bag after that game. Let me do the math really quickly. So he got a home run, So that's $1,000 right there.
$1,000.
And then he also got an additional $2,500 because he had 5 RBIs. So Lane Thomas made $3,500 off of Jose Ramirez that day.
Nice.
I mean, that's what a grand slam will do for you. You know,
Yeah,
it's like he's gonna go far with a grand slam. That's pretty nice right there. $3,500 from Jose Ramirez. Right at you know what? That'd be so funny. You know, you hit that grand slam. I'm walking to the dugout. I'm saying, "All right, pay up, big man, pay up."
The cash right there.
But I mean, seriously, like I think this is a really kind of just a fun note. I mean, to Jose Ramirez, $1,500, like that's nothing to him.
No,
it's literally like, but it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, we're in this together. Like, we want to win, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's almost like you have like a fun competition between. You and your own players. It kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. It's like, now it's like I'm trying to earn more of Jose's money than you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of cool.
Exactly. I always said like you always got to put incentives into contracts for like shit like this, right? But teams obviously don't do it too much. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But that's literally Jose Ramirez, stepping up in like a fucking GM role. And it's like I'm gonna give you your own incentives,
Sure, man.
under the table. So yeah, honestly, shout out to Jose Ramirez. Just being a team leader for these Guardians. And they're a relatively young squad, so actually that $3,500 might mean something for these guys.
Maybe. I mean, Lane Thomas is a talented guy, but $3,500 can go.
Can't hurt.
Certainly can't hurt right there.
Nice dinner. Your very nice dinner.
That's the thing. Yeah, 100%, man. So I mean, Cleveland, like they are going to be playing their first game up against the New York Yankees today. Everybody, who do you like in that series?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because you look over at the Yankees and you look around and you brought it up earlier and it's like, okay, like we're doing good. Obviously Stanton's been awesome. Like that's
yes, he has.
Again a resurgence. Like I'm counting Stanton out the entire time, but all of a sudden out of nowhere he like wills the team to beat the Kansas City Royals. But kind of everybody else is meh. You get Chas Chisholm, batting under 200. You got Gleyber Torres batting 200, and then your guy Aaron Judge batting 154. And an OPS of 620. And it's not like this is new. Like he's always been kind of bad at postseason baseball in his career. He bats 207, OPS of 762, better than what he's doing this year. But still, it's like he's not showing up when he needs to. And for the Yankees, I still like them a lot. I love their rotation. I think that Aaron Judge could wake up. But the writing's on the wall right now where if you don't wake up Aaron Judge, like that's a big loss in this series.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if this is still true, but it certainly was true for a little bit that Aaron Judge was leading all players in MLB history with a strikeout percentage of like it was like 35 or 36%. It was very very high. I mean, like he was striking out a lot. He's got 5 strikeouts so far in 4 games on the Yankees. So I mean, like he's just not producing right now. Again, this is a 4-game sample size.
Right.
If this was regular season, nobody would think twice.
No.
You don't even look at this. But because it is this key moment, because you are in now going to be the ALCS, and you are the highest paid player and arguably the best player in baseball right now, we need you to show up. I think that the Yankees, I don't want to take anything away from them beating the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
But I would argue that they kind of lucked out with that matchup. You think about any other of the squads, like if they had run into Detroit, for instance,
right,
would they be here right now? If they had run into the Padres or the Phillies, would they be here? Like with the performances that we're seeing from these hitters, because even Juan Soto, for instance, he's got a 286 batting average, but the power's not really there right now. He's got a 746 OPS. Other than Stanton and fucking, believe it or not, Torres, like there's not a whole lot of people right now who are consistently hitting for this New York Yankees squad. Right. They are relying on that pitching staff. Garrett Cole did have a very nice start in that final game against Kansas City. But, I would argue that, had you run into a different ball team, you might not be here right now.
Yeah.
I think that Cleveland is playing with a little bit more oomph than you guys are right now.
Yeah.
Again, we had this same argument with the LA Dodgers and their pitching staff, and then boom, 33 scoreless innings. So at any given moment, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto could go on a fucking tear.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, we don't have a lot of time, boys.
Yeah, actually I saw this on, I think it was the Chris Rose rotation. We're talking baseball. I'm not talking baseball. It would have been baseball today. But Chris Rose was kind of talking about how He brought up like, the Yankees have the easiest path to the World Series, and I think we've said this too. But then you had Trevor Plouffe kind of bring up a point. I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, I guess they're different paths to the World Series, because over on the NL side of things, other than the Dodgers pitch staff going crazy, it's like you have a lot of heavy lineups over there, whereas on the Yankees side of things, you got a lot of good pitchers over here. You know, so it's like they kind of like Kansas City Royals had a great pitching staff, right?
Sure.
They really had to squeeze out those wins, and maybe part of the reason why they're struggling in the 4 games is because they faced the Royals for 4 games, right?
No, that's fair.
That could be right. So maybe there's part of that where, again, the Cleveland Guardians, they're built on pitching. Maybe that's going to be another factor to this, where it's just a different avenue for them to get there. However, with that being said, if you want to beat good pitching, you got to have good hitting. So Aaron Judge does need to wake up. So this is a tough one. I feel like I got to go with the Yankees in 7. I think it's going to go down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be as easy, but Yankees in 7 for me if I had to bet my life on it.
Man, I'm trying to take a look right now. I'm trying to find. Okay, so today, first game here. It's gonna be Cobb up against Rodon. What are Cobb's statistics? That's Cobb for the Cleveland Guardians, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
Alex Cobb here, 6 ERA, in just 1 start, 3 innings.
Cobb was hurt and now he's back, eh?
Remember
they traded for him from the Giants?
Right. Yes,
back,
I do remember that.
Wow,
I'm trying to find like what he did this
one.
year. Very, very good this year. Small sample size for the Guardians though. 2.76 ERA
in 16 innings.
Yeah, very, very small sample size there. And then obviously Rodon. I mean, Rodon's kind of like, I feel like Rodon can be he can be the best pitcher, and then he can be the worst pitcher type thing.
Yeah.
And then similarly on the following game, you're gonna have Bibe up against Cole. Cole really found himself in that second start there. The first one was a little rough, and then the second one it was just like fucking dominant. Man, this could be a very low scoring type of series, like ugly, like it's all like Pittsburgh Steelers football, but baseball.
That's why the AL's so like kind of boring to me this year.
I know.
The NL's so much more exciting. Like Mets, Dodgers, that rings excitement.
Yes.
And like power.
Yeah.
And like superstars. Yankees, Guardians.
Especially like that's the thing. Especially when Aaron Judge and Juan Soto
are
not there right now. You know, it's like, are we really about to have our postseason hopes lie with the 34-year-old Giancarlo Stanton right now? Like, is this where we're trusting in this?
Boy.
He is getting it done right now.
Getting it done though. Can't give him credit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one for me. I do think it's going to be a Game 7 type situation. I think this is going to be very, very close. I guess I'll go Yankees for right now because I do believe that Soto and that Judge are going to wake up eventually. Again, we're talking about 4 games right here, and these are, I would argue, the 2 best hitters in baseball. Right, maybe add Shohei Ohtani to that mix as well. But I'll go Yankees in 7. I'll ride with you on that one. But I really wouldn't be surprised if these Cleveland Guardians decide to go on a bit of a run here.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they do need Aaron Judge. And we were listening to the broadcast. I think it was Game 2 we were watching. We were live on this channel, and they were talking about how like Aaron Judge's swing has gotten noticeably longer in the postseason.
Okay, that worries me.
Yeah, it's like
concerns me.
Which is weird. Like I don't know what is it a mental thing that's like making him swing longer? Like does he feel like he needs to do more?
It's got to be.
It's got to be a mental thing.
Because I mean, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago when you were in the regular season, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's not like
Short to the ball,
you changed everything. You know what I mean?
It's
like
got to be mental where he feels like he needs to do Aaron Judge level things, which is you just can't. You got to have the Ohtani mentality. Even though Ohtani isn't like popping off, he's still good enough where you're not like, oh my god, like where's Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani literally said, well, I feel like I have to do less because I know there's other guys behind me who are gonna step up. You know, so whereas Aaron Judge, it's kind of different where you don't have too many guys behind you.
He doesn't have a whole lot of guys.
Yeah,
you know?
you
I
know?
mean, granted, maybe the fact that Stanton is doing what he's doing, like hopefully, like. I mean, maybe that can calm you down a little bit, Judge. And you really do need to trust him. I mean, it's tough, right? It's tough. It's that happy medium of like giving it your 110% all of the time, but also not pressing so much. And I mean,
it's a different kind of energy, like locked in focus energy, not like a putting pressure and stressing myself out kind of energy. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's again like we're not pros. That is one of those skills that is arguably the toughest thing to develop when you're a pro athlete, because you can have all the talent in the world, but then finding that level of calm focus and being able to do it day in day out. Yeah. You can do it in the regular season though. I know you can do it here. Show up, show out. You'll make it to the World Series.
There's a famous quote. It's like, baseball's 50% physical and then 110% mental.
Right.
Where, it's like it's kind of what it is. Yeah, you can have the talent, but go show up, Judge. Kind of want you to. I want to see some exciting baseball.
Well, the one thing I will say is, like, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this, because I think that right now the favorited matchup, like if you had to go to the betting sites, shout out to Betway, everybody, would be Dodgers, Yankees in the World Series. Like, that's
literally the favorite.
Part of me loves that, because it's like, okay, the two juggernauts going up, and it's Judge and it's Ohtani and it's Soto and it's Betts,
wants it.
It's Garrett Cole and it's like it's all of it. But then another part of me is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I know.
Really?
I know.
Really?
You know what's funny though? Every year, it feels like in sports, you rarely do see the two favorites on both sides of the league actually go and face each other, which is, I guess, refreshing. if that sounds kind of crazy to say, because it's always like a favorite and then who's this cool underdog I got here. Whereas this year, I feel like the only underdog would be maybe Mets, you could argue, but definitely Guardians would be quite the underdog story.
Yeah, sure. Well, just from a payroll standpoint, I mean, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Dodgers, I mean, I think they are the top three right there. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure. And then you'd have a dramatic fall off, and the Cleveland Guardians would be around 20th or something like that.
You got Jose Ramirez giving his players money.
Yes. Like he's trying to, the $500 is a lot of money for them.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit. Wow, that Jose, really nice guy. Yeah. So generous. Over here
I can feed my family today. Yeah. Fuck. Anyways, everybody, that's what we're thinking for this Yankees, for this Guardians series. Let's move on and talk about something that is not postseason baseball related.
Let's do it. A first quick shout out real quick to Greta Bar, everybody. It's downtown Toronto, King Street West. Super dope place. Got over 50 arcade games. You can go get some bar food, go dance. Hey, during the day, you can watch some postseason baseball. I know they got some TVs that you can go and enjoy. Maybe in the halftime, or not halftime, watching football now. In the intermissions, in the between innings, go play some games and go right back at the action. So shout out to Greta Bar. Go ahead, Nick. What are you going to say?
Well, we've been talking so much about postseason ball here on this channel, and I mean, that is what is happening. However, I love articles like this. I love shitting on bad decisions.
Yeah.
And this article by Bleacher Report is all about bad decisions and bad performances. We're gonna take a moment here and dive through what Zachary Reimer had to write about each MLB team's nightmare contract by 2026. So effectively, in a couple years, you are going to hate that this guy is on your team, and you are going to hate how much you are paying him. And there is absolutely some conversation starters in this article, man. I want to start with somebody here that I genuinely completely forgot even plays baseball. Seriously. Like, I mean, the second that he went over to this ball team, he left the limelight entirely, and it's just been, where are you? Chris Bryant, first baseman. I didn't even know that he was first baseman now.
I guess they moved him over.
That's the thing. Like,
Ryan McMahon. Yeah, I guess he's third.
I wouldn't know, because I haven't thought about Chris Bryant in years. He signed a massive contract over there by the Colorado Rockies years and years and years ago. He's going to be a free agent in 2029, getting paid so much money a year, 7 years, $182 million. Dude, this guy was fucking terrible this year.
He's not only this year, I mean, actually his first year when he went to the Rockies in 42 games.
Yeah, very small sample size.
He did do Chris Bryant level kind of stuff, typical Chris Bryant numbers. But now, last 2 years, again, hurt. 80 games last year, 37 games this year, and it's combined for a total OPS of 663. Like, why is he hurt all the time? And when he is on the field, I feel like these numbers got to be reflective of him just being hurt all the time.
Right.
Like, I feel like maybe he could have been better. Maybe the numbers could have looked better if he was healthy. We will never know. But obviously that contract's looking like garbage because I don't even believe you have a full season. No, you don't even have a full season, 162 games in the last 3 years of Chris Bryant.
Wow, that's
just awful.
That is brutal, right? So you've had 3 years of Bryant, and you've barely even seen him on the field. And when he is on the field, you want to turn away because it's just not. It's not been good. I mean, I do agree with you that I think these numbers are very reflective of the fact that he has just been so hurt.
Yeah.
Because you go to Colorado, you're supposed to be better at hitting, right? The numbers are supposed to go up, and they have dropped like a stone. I don't know, man. I think this is.
Didn't he say he regretted going to Colorado, or was there something like that?
Okay, yeah. So Chris Bryant, that's the thing, right? Bad decisions for both sides here could be. He came out, and afterwards he backpedaled on this.
Right.
But he said that he didn't do, and he wished he would have done more research about the prospect systems and the farm systems.
And it takes 2 seconds.
That's the thing. Like he didn't look into enough of like the future of like where these teams are going.
You know.
So again, like he backpedaled on that pretty quickly because he was getting some serious hate online. Obviously. I would say you are dumb as nails.
How do you not even look up Rocky's prospects?
Right.
I probably look up prospects every other day for this job. Your job as a baseball player, when you're making a decision, should be you should think about it.
Well,
and not do that.
And also, too, man, like it's Colorado.
Yeah. Have you been noticing their win-loss record in the last little bit?
Have you been under a fucking rock over there?
Yeah.
You know, when you were on Chicago and San Francisco,
seriously.
it's like, where were you, dude?
Yeah.
This is not a good baseball team, and people don't want to play here. So, yeah, I think he said that, and I would imagine, like, you know, I could understand where he's coming from in the sense you probably got your big payday, and you're like, smash, accept.
Yeah,
you know, didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, wait, I'm so far out of the limelight, people forget that I even exist.
For real.
But, you know, again, dude, you gotta show up, and right now that hasn't been the case. So Chris Bryant, one of the worst contracts in baseball, even now, let alone 2026.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Hopefully he can bounce back. How old is this guy?
32.
Now? Okay.
Going to be turning 33. Like, in next year, he'll be 33.
Maybe he's got a year or two left in his
That's the
career.
thing. Like, I still think,
like
he'd
be good.
He would be a good baseball player. It's just when you're never healthy, like, it's really hard to get going.
Yeah. No, I agree. I want to talk about one guy on this list that it's very interesting because it's a few guys on this list that, like, they haven't yet underperformed, but they're projecting he's going to underperform. And one of those guys is Josh Hader. When you look at Josh Hader, you know, this year, you're like, okay, like, not a terrible year, but again, you're expecting Josh Hader numbers. 34 saves, ERA of 3.80, whip under 1 of 0.95. You're like, okay, that's cool. You know, he is getting paid a lot of money, almost $20 million per year. But on this article, you know, they're saying, oh, well, he's going to get worse because, you know, he isn't striking out guys as much as he did in 2018 to 2022. His fastball velocity and whiff rate aren't what they used to be. And also, his run of never going on the IL with an actual injury is frankly unsustainable, which, I mean, again, that's just like pulling something out of nowhere. But, like, well, he's healthy, so eventually he'll get hurt.
Stupid.
I mean, that's kind of a weak argument right there. But you can argue that the whiff rate's down, the velocity's down, and that this was a lesser year, so maybe you're projecting that this is the beginning of the decline. But again, the bullpen guys are so all over the place. But they're saying in the next 2 years it's going to be a bad contract.
I don't know. I think that's kind of bullshit for me.
Yeah,
the strikeout per 9 is down a little bit, but you know, last year it's effectively the exact same strikeout per 9 that he had last year, and last year he had a 1.28 ERA.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the WHIP. Like, I actually think that ERA is kind of wild that it's that high, because when you look at his whip of 0.958, like, that's really, really good.
Weak contact and getting ground balls and pop-ups.
That's really good. And you look at his career, right? That the closest year to that whip was back in 2020. That was a small sample size, but like really good then.
Right.
You know, like, again, like, we're talking about a player who's still got it, in my opinion, for right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand where they're coming from. I think that it's always really dangerous, though, when you sign bullpen guys to these
to the big
this
big contracts.
type of contract. Now, that is where baseball is going. You know, like, if you truly have a lockdown closer, that is super valuable.
Yeah.
But it's really rare, and it's hard to come by. I hope that he can finish out strong, though, because I think that if you see success from one of these guys who got paid a shitload, then you're going to continue to see guys get paid,
right?
You know, and I do want that for closers and stuff. I think they do get the raw end of it. You know, a lot of times.
I'm with you on that. But I also, like I can't be saying like, oh, in 2 years his contract's going to look like ass because it's still Josh Hader, and you still know that this guy is going to give you a veteran outing every time. Like he's going to give you a smart outing. So that one's kind of weird. This one, though, however, we're talking about injuries. We're talking about veterans. Mike Trout. You know, Mike Trout, man, I for the last couple of years, I've been rooting for this guy to get back to health. You know, you look at all the numbers before 2020. I really don't count 2020 at all. When he was healthy, just unreal. Like, the amount of bold and italicized numbers you see on his baseball reference is incredible. Like, literally, the conversation was, this guy is already on his way to Cooperstown. He's one of the greatest players in our generation. You know, we look at Juan Soto. People look at Juan Soto like we looked at Mike Trout. We're like, holy crap! Like, and he did it for so long. And now, in the last 4 years, he's played only 266 games. So that's like a season and a half of baseball. And on the field, when he's healthy, my goodness, great stuff. OPS of 951, batting average of 276. He's driven in 76 home runs in a year and a half. Like, holy shit. Like, this guy's awesome. So opposite for Chris Bryant, when, like, he's hurt and on the field, he sucks. Whereas when, like, Mike Trout's back, he's amazing. But you still are paying this guy a gigantic contract of $426 million. And now he's 33 right now, but we'll start 33 next year. So now he's starting to get the question of, like, when's the age going to kick in? When is he going to keep getting injured? Are we overpaying?
I think the age has already kicked in, not in terms of, you know, his talent, but just in terms of, like, the body is not holding up the way that it used to, right?
Right,
But we always remember Mike Trout, like, he played a hard brand of baseball. You know, back in those early years, dude, like, we're talking about a guy who had 49 stolen bases. You know, he was running all over everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And you talk about Cooperstown. He is going to be in. He's going to be there regardless of what happens here. But it's really sad to see when somebody has still got it as good as Mike Trout does, and they just cannot stay on the field. You look at that contract, he got paid $37 million this year. He's going to get paid $37 million next year, and the year after that, the year after that, the year after that, and the year after that.
Free agent 2031.
Correct.
That's nuts.
You know, so this isn't going away anytime soon, and fuck, for like the LA Angels to even think about competing in any time soon, this has got to be something that rectifies itself. Now, it's not all Mike Trout's fault. I really do believe that, like, you know, you look at his body and, like, the guy is fucking ripped, right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, he's, like, that's the thing. Like, it's not like he's, you know, like, not taking care of his body.
If he's like Stanton, he's almost too ripped.
That's the thing. Like whatever is going on with the conditioning just needs to change. Now, I think that you've gotten really unlucky, and I really do think that you still have it, because every time you're there, you're doing it. But, like, this is a big problem for Mike Trout, for the LA Angels. You know, it's got to be better.
Yeah, like, LA Angels are kind of, you know, they're kind of in a lot of trouble, because I just looked. Anthony Rendon's not even on this list, which I think is already a bad contract.
It's terrible. It's been terrible.
It's been terrible for so long. But you have two guys getting paid. Well, he's getting paid over $400 million, Mike Trout, over $300 million for Anthony Rendon. It's like, that's $700 million that's not doing anything for you. Like, that's gonna sink your franchise for the next decade.
100%.
Unless you get some young rookie prospects to come up and put up Mike Trout level of production, and Anthony Rendon when you sign him type of production, and then maybe one of those seasons they come back, one of these guys, Trout or Rendon, and then they put up their OG numbers, and oh crap, now we have something cooking for us. But yeah, that's a long ways away.
Well, this is the danger of signing these guys to these crazy deals, right? And you know, the Anthony Rendon is one side of the coin where, I mean, the guy just fucking sucks now.
He just sucks.
He's really horrendous, and the attitude is gone there. Like, the second that he put pen to paper,
he gave up.
He did not care anymore, which I guess you're fully entitled to do.
That's why you need incentives, man. That's why I keep saying.
I know. I've always been of that mindset as well. Like, in football, they do it. In other sports, they do it. in baseball they do have some of them.
Sometimes.
And then you watch the teams fuck over the other players. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Pirates for what they did. Very, very stupid. But this is obviously like, this is why teams really got to think about signing players to long-term deals, because even when they are really, really good, sometimes it falls apart and you get unlucky, like this could just as easily happen to an Ohtani or Soto when he signs his big deal, or injuries are a big thing, and you're watching it derail Mike Trout's latter half of his career, which really sucks because I know if he was healthy, MVP 2, MVP 3, MVP 1, like he would be in that mix every single season. So I really do hope for Mike Trout's sake and the LA Angels' sake that he gets back to health, and also Anthony Rendon. Well, I hope that you start caring.
Yeah, I literally, dude, I'm looking at Rendon. Also, correction, it's $245 million for Rendon, so it wasn't over $300 million, but still a lot of effing money.
A lot of goddamn money.
But every year, the amount of games played is 52, 58, 47, 43, 57. And his OPS over that time, 717.
Wow, dude. That's, throwback to, when was it? Was it 2019.
He had the
wild.
MVP
So,
a
little insider info right here, guys. That was the first year that we as a group
played
fantasy baseball.
He was on my team. I
know that. I know that. Yeah.
I won that
you
year.
Look at exactly. Well, you look at Anthony Rendon's career. You lucked out, man. That was crazy.
A boom year. I mean, the last 2 years he was very good, and then obviously he exploded in the World Series year. And that was. I remember he was my fifth rounder, and I was like, I barely knew who Rendon was too, because he's over on the NL side of things.
Yeah.
But I looked, I'm like, okay, obviously he looks solid. Prime his career, I'll get him. But this was just crazy.
No, he went nuclear, and then in 2020, like small sample size, played good ball for the LA Angels first year. You're thinking, okay, this contract looks good, and then nope. And it's been downhill ever since. So LA Angels, I'm sorry. It sucks. I mean, you know what's fucking crazy though?
What?
You had Ohtani,
I know.
You let him go, and this guy is the one that's getting all the money.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What kind of investments are we doing over here in LA? Why didn't we think about this too before we went out and signed Rendon, which felt like a weird signing to begin with?
Yeah.
Why did we go out of our way and sign him and not extend think about Ohtani?
The game plan really was, I think we are going to I think the game plan for them was we have Ohtani. He's not getting paid as much as he's still getting paid a lot in arbitration and all that stuff because it was fucking Ohtani.
Yeah.
But we were having for a relatively cheap deal and stuff. We're gonna win now with him on the team, and that's not what happened.
You go out and you barely add any pitching, because that was their big problem for a while. Man, I mean, even when they did add players, they all kind of suck, dude.
Oh, I know, yeah. They've never had whoever the pitching coach is over there. That guy's got to go.
Garbage.
That guy's got to go because he's not doing his job very well.
No. Name one good free agent that they brought in the last 5 years that actually played well. I actually can't name one. Estevez?
I'm sure that there's somebody out there, but they probably traded them away at the deadline, and that's why I can't even think of it.
Estevez actually the bullpen guy.
Right.
Jose Iglesias?
Was he on their team?
He was, I think, at one point, and then they traded him. It's because they sucked.
Wow. All right. Final player that we wanted to talk about here, everybody, on the all-time bad list here. Got to give a shout-out to Jacob deGrom, who I had coined right at the beginning of this podcast, actually before we started recording, excuse me, as the Mike Trout of the pitchers. You're talking about somebody who, when he's healthy, is going to be in the Cy Young conversations, is going to be up there in ERA, is going to be striking people out left, right, and center, but at 36 years old, and with the injuries that we're seeing right now... Is this? Have we seen the end of Jacob deGrom? Is this it?
Yeah, you're right when you say he's like the Mike Trout, because it's the same argument. Okay, he is turning 37 next year. Yeah, you could say well, if he comes back and has one more good year and he stays healthy, then it's amazing. But he hasn't been healthy in the last.
Look at that.
Not ever since COVID.
Yeah.
15 starts. That was the most he had in 2021 with the Mets. 11 starts. He was off to a phenomenal start in 2021. Gonna win Cy Young that year. Still got Cy Young 9. Can you believe it? And had 15 starts. And then once he signed with the Texas Rangers, 9 starts with the Texas Rangers in 2 years, getting paid a shitload of money. I wouldn't be betting on Jacob DeGrom. If I'm the Rangers, I'm going out and filling out my rotation without even thinking about DeGrom, and then if he comes back, great.
Yeah.
Great. That's a bonus.
Well, I didn't realize how bad it is. Like, I knew that he was always dealing with injuries, but, like, you look at the first, 5-6 years of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're talking about somebody who's up there at 200 innings. At minimum, we're tossing 150 or whatnot. Yeah. And he has not eclipsed the 100-inning mark or really gotten close to it in many of the years since then. So, yeah, like, he's out at this point. When he is on the field, we're talking about Cy Young 9, like you said, like a really, really good player, like somebody who's going to be in the mix for everything and is going to be dominant. But at 37 years old, next year, this is not somebody that I can be betting on for a bounce back. Like, I do think that this free agent 2028 too, dude.
Yeah, he's going to be around for a while. See, like, that's why, like, you just got to, like, plan around DeGrom. Or not around DeGrom, plan outside of DeGrom.
Yes.
Just hope that he's going to be a nice bonus when he comes back. He did pitch at the end of the year, and he did pitch pretty good. I mean, 3 starts. He only gave up 2 earned runs in 10 innings. So maybe you're hoping that he gives you a full, 33, 32 starts next year. But he hasn't done that since 2019, so you really can't bank on it.
No.
Do you think it was a mistake for Rangers signing this guy? I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but even Mets fans were talking about how they were kind of happy that DeGrom was off their plate and they didn't sign them back because of how injured he was.
Well, I like, did he even do anything in the postseason for them?
Does he even have postseason? Yeah, he must. Postseason pitching, he's got a 2.90 ERA, only with the Mets ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, here's the thing, man. I know that he didn't play a big role in it, but he did help them win a World Series in a very small capacity with the 30 innings that he threw for Texas.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, for that reason alone, I'm not going to say that any of the signings they made that year were a mistake, because who knows? Maybe those 30 innings were critical in the development of them going on and winning that World Series. I don't know.
He went 2-0.
That's the thing.
And it came down to the
maybe
wire.
they really needed those wins. I don't know how it all panned out, but
Baseball Reference isn't even giving him a World Series title.
Are they not?
They not. No, he's got 2 Cy Young, 4-time All-Star, ERA title, and Rookie of the Year, but not a World Series win.
Oh no!
Because he wasn't on the roster.
Wow.
Sucks to suck.
Wow. Okay, that is really tough. Actually.
Sorry, Jacob.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
That's really, really tough. Well, maybe a bit of a mistake, but again, when you have a banner hanging up, you don't care that much.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So, guys, that is it for Bad for Baseball today. Let us know in the comments on our YouTube channel about what you thought about this ALCS, this NLCS. Who do you got? Who do you have for the win? You let us know how many games and who's winning, and as well some of the other worst contracts in the league. Let us know if we missed anyone, and let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, we're gonna be live for a couple games this week. Not entirely sure when, but one today, probably when this podcast is out or coming out. So we'll be watching the LA Dodgers take on the Mets in Game 2. Probably another one either on Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. But we will let you guys know when we know.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
We'll catch you next time.
Cheers.